fun for you. So today we're going to cover what's new in AutoCAD 2026. So a little bit about me first. For those of you that haven't been here, my name's Ryan Wunderlich. I've got over 38 years of experience in AutoCAD across multiple industry segments. I'm currently the support team manager here for the AEC team in our Solutions Center. I've taught AutoCAD as a certified instructor. I have over 15 years of CAD management, 8 years in cruise ship building, 5 years of support in civil survey, landscape architecture. As I like to tell people, I've worked in every industry but aerospace and automotive. If your industry is not one of those two, chances are I've done something in it or touched something at some point in my career. And I have a bachelor's of business management and a master's in organizational management. So moving on, let's talk about today's agenda. So the first thing we're going to talk about is connected support files. This is the only new feature in AutoCAD 26. And then we're going to talk about the activity insight enhancements. We're going to talk about markup import and markup assist enhancements. We're also going to talk about smart blocks, the search and convert enhancements, as well as the smart blocks detect and convert enhancements, the CENTERLINE and CENTERMARK enhancements, and some additional system enhancements. So moving on, connected support files. So support files are now connected, which means that all drawings and collaborators in an Autodesk Docs project can now share one set of support files. So what are connected support files? Those connected support files allow AutoCAD to locate dependencies such as fonts, plot styles, templates, and other support-based files based on the configuration defined for an Autodesk Docs project. This is in addition to your normally handled standards that you hard code into your options. And connected support files are project aware, and they are linked to the Autodesk projects or Autodesk Docs project they belong to. AutoCAD finds the necessary support files for drawings in an Autodesk Docs project without requiring configuration for each AutoCAD installation. So during the setup of these support files for an Autodesk Docs project, AutoCAD creates a folder named .autodesk.support. Autodesk searches that support folder in its subfolders, and it's all of the subfolders. And this can be further extended by adding other support file locations across multiple projects. Personalized locations and settings can also be added as needed. So with the onboarding experience, so when you open a drawing stored in an Autodesk Docs project that has not been configured for project-aware support files, you have the option to set up the project for that drawing. To set up project-aware support files, display the options dialog box, and then click the Files tab and then Setup. And you will see that you have now project settings, your personalized settings, and then underneath are your classic AutoCAD settings. So new and QNew drawing templates. So if your drawing template is in Docs, you can actually tell it to use that. So when creating a new drawing, AutoCAD uses the drawing template location specified in the project settings in which you last worked. AutoCAD uses the drawing template location from the user profile if you last worked on a drawing that's not set up to use project-aware support files. And there's also enhanced support file searching across all specified support file search paths. Opening drawings from the same Autodesk Docs project locates and includes support files without any additional setup. And there's a new system variable called Project Aware. It just simply, when it's on, it informs the user or developer of the project path state of the current drawing. And if you turn it off, you won't see that information at all. Now, a couple of things you need to be aware of. These things are not in the Autodesk documentation. These are things that I have found myself. So if I copy a drawing from a connected project to another connected project, either by File Explorer or copying using the ACC or the Autodesk Construction Cloud website, it will make the copied drawing see both the new project that you copied it into and the old connected files and the old project connected files. So be aware of that. Saving the files outside of an ACC project will trigger a warning to remove the connected project settings. So if you save a drawing out of ACC and you save it to your local desktop, you will need to save the drawing to the selected location, and it will strip all of those project-aware settings, and you'd have to reset them if you put that drawing back into a ACC project. One other thing to be aware of is if you're using an ACC project template and set any of the locations using the Add a Location buttons, the project template location will follow when you set up a new project. So if your users do not have access to that project template, in other words, in this particular scenario here, I set up a Ryan Solution Center template, and that's where my template is pointing to. If you have a user that does not have access to that template that you use to set up your project, the functionality is going to be disabled and they will not be able to change any of those settings, and it will follow. So those are the two real big pitfalls of going connected projects and using a project template for setup. So just wanted you guys to be aware of those. With that, we're going to do just a little demonstration here. So what I have here is I have an ACC drawing. This one is simply on my C drive. It's not set up, right? So I can see that this one's in my working folder right here. It's not set up. And if I go into options, there's no project aware, nothing at all. If I go to this ACC drawing, which is in my ACC standard setup, and I go to my options, you'll see that this one is now project aware because I've gone through the process of setting it up, and you're going to see that my plot styles and my template are here. There's my template. There's my default template for QNew. And if I had trusted locations, like if I had list routines, things like that, I could put them in here. You can add tool palettes. I strongly recommend at this time not to put tool palettes up in your project unless absolutely necessary, just because there is a delay in pulling information down. And I have not tested the robustness of getting that in and out correctly. But I wanted to point this to you. So what I did was that I copied this ACC drawing, the same one right here. I just copied it up to the website right here that I already have a drawing set up in. And because this drawing was not set up previously, but I copied it into a folder that has the setup, it immediately inherits the setup from the drawing that is set up. Follow me so far. So, and this particular one is in my project files. This is my standards template. This is the one I set up in Docs. This is my template set up here. And if I go into options here, this is the one that I created a new project from. So my ACC standards template here, but what I want you to see is my template settings still point back to my Ryan Solution Center template. Again, this is one of those things you have to be careful of if you're using ACC and project standards. So that's what I wanted to cover here. It's pretty simple to set up. Basically, if you're in an ACC drawing and I go back into options, I can pretty much set up anything here. So if it automatically knows where I'm at, automatically knows this information. I can absolutely come in here and add a new location. It's going to default me to my Docs project, and it's going to allow me to add additional information. So in here, if I have any other pieces in here, I can add them as support paths. All right, moving on. So that's the only new feature. Now we're going to talk about enhancements to the stuff that's already in there. So we've got some new activity insight enhancements. So they've now introduced a what's changed insight. So when you click the save activity tile in the activities insight palette, you'll now know what's changed insight in the activity properties panel. This insight provides high-level summary of changes made during each edit session. This can help you know what happened since you last worked in the drawing and continue where you left off. The what's changed insight is tied to the drawing, not individual users, so all AutoCAD collaborators working on the drawing can create and view the same insights. Generally, each what's changed insight now includes the following information: a list of changes for specific objects, right? So the workflow used 60% application setup, 20% object modification, 20% drawing setup and management. A workflow breakdown is based on command execution. You've got your elapsed editing time of 15 minutes, 3 seconds. Your file size changed if it went up or down. Each insight includes a thumb up or a thumb down feedback option, allowing you to rate its helpfulness. And additionally, that you can provide more specific feedback on the tool through the Autodesk Help Us Improve link in the What's Changed header. Right, the Help Us Improve right here. So, technical requirements for this to work. You must be connected to the internet to receive the What's Changed Insight. The What Changed Insight is currently available only in basic AutoCAD. This means that the insight will not reflect changes made in the drawing through other AutoCAD-based products. So Civil 3D does not have this. This is currently only in basic AutoCAD LT. Additionally, only drawings stored locally on a machine, on a physical server, or in Autodesk Docs will receive the What's Changed Insight. So if you do not have a physical server or your local machine, or you're not storing these in Docs, these things will not be covered or will not be held. So that means drawings stored on supported cloud storage providers such as Google Drive, OneDrive, Box, Dropbox will not receive these type of insights. So in addition, you now have a search and filter. The search and filter bars have been simplified now to allow for ease of use. You can now filter activities by time, user specific activities with one button. You can also access the filters easily by right mouse clicking any activity. This action allows you to filter by the user who did the activity or filter by the same type of activity. Right? Filter by the user, filter by the activity saved. So with that, we're going to just do a little demonstration. I believe it's in this one. I'm going to go view my activities insights. Right? So you're going to see that this is version 1. And I can see this is where I just brought it in, unknown user, because this was me copying it up to the cloud. I can see that it was opened. I can see that it was opened read-only by myself again. And I can see that one of my coworkers, Shlomo, opened this file. And I can see that he saved it, where we walked through drawing setup and management and 50% of the application setup and settings. And again, I reopen the file here, and you'll see I've opened the file today as well. So you do have a lot more granularity to what's being tracked in here. So that's activities insights. Will this be applied for one saved in Vault? Jordan, I don't actually know the answer to that question, to be honest with you. I would imagine since Vault is technically being stored on a server that this information should be there. That was a very good question. That's why I wanted you to know that. So the Markup import and Markup assist enhancements. So improvements were made to the Markup import and Markup assist, namely importing markups from Autodesk Docs to AutoCAD, making it easier for drafters to incorporate revisions. The Markup assist for markups created in this Markup assist enhancement is for markups created in Autodesk Docs. Markup assist can now detect text, strike-throughs, and boundary markups, which can be inserted as rev clouds on PDFs that are imported and synced from Autodesk Docs. Use Markup assist just like before. After publishing the markups in Autodesk Docs, you open the associated trace, click the drawing button on the trace toolbar to switch to traceback mode. One of the big ones here is that when using markups with Autodesk Docs, the Markup Assist can now detect markups on a PDF that were not created in Autodesk Docs. So in the previous release, once a PDF was uploaded to Autodesk Docs, any existing markups on the PDF, for example, markups created in either Adobe or with another markup software like Bluebeam, etc., would not be detected by the Markup Assist and were instead only visible as part of the background image that was overlaid in the trace workspace. In this release, the Markup Assist can now detect these types of markups appropriately. So this is a huge advancement for those of us that don't necessarily do all of our markups directly in ACC through the web portal. So to view the doc, you can now view the Autodesk Docs issues in AutoCAD. So issues created and published on a PDF markup in Autodesk Docs can now be viewed in AutoCAD. And some other improvements were made to the task dialogues when importing markups from Docs. And when importing markups from Autodesk Docs, the default name of the associated trace now contains the name of the PDF and the version. Activities does not work with SharePoint, Rob. That's considered outside. So with that, we're going to go into the Smart Block Search and Convert enhancements. So in the previous version, we had Smart Block Search and Convert. Now, in addition to identical blocks, this feature now finds text variations to further streamline repetitive tasks. So now includes the text variations. So bsearch, formerly known as bconvert, finds all instances of the same geometry in a drawing for efficient block conversion. And with this specific release in 26, Search and Convert can find a text variation to convert it to a block with attributes and pass the text as an attribute there. This new capability is really helpful for classifying repetitive but variable types as text, such as room numbers, room names. So you now start Search and Convert easily by accessing it from the ribbon. You go to the Insert tab and you do Detect and Convert or Search and Convert. We're going to do Search and Convert first. And once you run bsearch, you select the objects. The new search review mode highlights all the matching instances. And then from the search toolbar, you can see the total number, 42. You can navigate to the previous or the next instance in the drawing. You can adjust filters to include existing blocks and or text variations, and you can convert these to a block. The big thing here is when you convert these to a block, you'll see a thumbnail preview here. Now you can easily see the selected object, and it will say include text variations where you can define an attribute tag. So along with converting the matching instance to the block, you can specify attribute tags for these text variations by clicking Define Attribute Tags. Once you define the attribute tag, it's important if you use a standard or you do data extraction. And once done, you can add a block name, an insertion point, or let it use the geometric center. And you can also assign a layer to put that block onto once it's been created. So new commands, bsearch now replaces bconvert, and then minus bsearch replaces bconvert. That's all command prompt driven as opposed to dialog box driven. New system variables, text to attribute. In the bsearch command, if text objects are selected, controls whether or not text variations will be searched for conversion into block attributes. The big command bsearch include existing blocks replaces bconvert includes existing blocks, controls whether existing block instances are selected by bsearch command by default. Users can still make adjustment to the selection during the review process. And depreciated commands, obviously bconvert has been replaced with bsearch, so it's no longer needed, and the bconvert include existing blocks is no longer needed because it's been replaced. So with that, let's go into a demonstration with this. So I have a smart blocks right here. I'm going to close the activities insights. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this right here. And I'm going to go insert, and I'm going to go detect and convert and search and convert. And you're going to see everywhere where this room number has been highlighted, or cube number, whatever you want to call it. So I like that. Nothing got missed. I'm going to hit convert. What you're going to see here is it says now there's a text variation. So I could define this tag as room number. And then I'm going to call this room number. And I'm going to put these on room number layer. So when I convert these are now all converted to a block. And if I edit this, you'll see it's an attribute. And it remembers that text. So this is quite an advancement that we've had in the search, right? In the search and convert. And we can do that with anything. So like I've got this piece right here. Let's do a search and convert. Grab this information right here. And you're going to see it highlights all the phones. We can convert that to a block, right? And this will be phone. Right, and we can put this on the, where should we put that? That's on chairs. We'll put it on the phone layer. I'll call this phone, convert them. Now they're all phones. Now they're all on the phones layer. So if you have an exploded line work drawing that there's no blocks in, you can quickly go through here and basically help yourself by changing all of this information. Now we're going to get to Smart Blocks Detect and Convert enhancements. So we've done, our Autodesk has improved detection capability. So BDetect now is the command previously known as detect, uses machine learning to identify and group similar objects in a drawing for easy block conversion. Detect and Convert is still a tech preview, which means that the detection capability and functionality have improved since the last release and will continue to improve. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's perfect, and it's not, but it's getting better. And once launched, it will take time to process. Once completed, when you click on a detected object, it will highlight all of them and allow you to convert them just like the search and convert. And it will tell you that this is a tech preview. So detect and convert is best at recognizing architectural type objects such as, doors, toilets, bathtubs, urinals, generic lighting symbols. And it does support millimeters, centimeters, decimeters, inch, feet, yard, and meters. And note, this feature relies on machine learning logarithms, so the results may not always be completely accurate or comprehensive. So always keep that in mind. It is getting better, but it's still a tech preview, so keep that in mind. So with that, we'll go back to our drawing. Right, so here's just a plain old drawing. Everything here has been exploded into basic line work. And we'll go detect and convert. And it's doing our detection right now. So it's going through the drawing and it's trying to figure out what's in the drawing, and it's trying to figure out how it wants to convert these objects here. And then once this finishes, you'll get a pop-up and it will show us all the different pieces and parts that could be potentially turned into blocks. So I do apologize, this does take a few minutes. There we go. So if we come in here, now we're going to see that our detect palette here now shows that we have a bunch of blocks. There are some things it didn't pick up, like it didn't pick up room numbers, it didn't pick up the bubbles up here for, our column lines. But what it did pick up were things like, picked up this, it picked up these toilets, but it didn't pick up this one. It picked up these sinks, which is great, right? It picked up this set of double doors here as a block, although it's really a single door. So just want you to understand that this is still a work in progress. It's still using machine logarithms, but it's getting better from where it was. And again, you just click on this, and if I say up here, convert, now I can convert all these to just a chair block, right? So I can call this chair. And again, we can put this on a specific layer. And this would be a fern if there's one, and I don't see an A fern. Oh. So we'll put that on that layer. We'll hit convert. So now these have been converted to blocks. Pretty straightforward. But again, this is a tech preview, so be aware that this is improving. It's not perfect yet, and it probably won't be, but it is getting better. All right, now let's talk about the CENTERLINE and CENTERMARK enhancements. This is something we've asked for on the mechanical side for years. So there is now a layer option when you do the CENTERLINE or CENTERMARK, and the center layer variable is now a new system variable that can be changed to specify a specific layer at the command prompt using the new layer option of CENTERLINE and CENTERMARK command. So you type CENTERLINE or CENTERMARK and it will select the first line, or it will prompt for a layer. On the ribbon in the Annotate tab, the CENTERLINE's panel has a drop down that now says use current layer, or you can specify a specific layer for them. So when we go back to AutoCAD, right, I've got a circle right here. This is an excellent one. And we go to our annotate and our center line, and I can actually specify this to use a different layer if I want. So I can go a area, center mark, pick the center mark, done. So now we have capabilities in here to put it on a specific layer. We didn't have that before. Kathy, all you guys putting stuff in your questions, I appreciate it. I will get back to those questions in a moment, so just bear with me. So that's the center line and center mark. And now we're going to talk about some of the additional enhancements that are done on the system side. So the first one is GDI plot enhancement. They've improved compatibility with Windows system printers handling custom configuration settings more effectively. This enhancement is enabled by default. Plot using a preferred Windows system printer as usual. The printer's custom settings will be used during printing and saved to a PC3 file. GPU text, so the selection effect of GPU text has been enhanced to improve display quality. So a new option in the graphics performance dialog box provides better control over the display of TrueType fonts while using GPU acceleration. The GPU text processing has been optimized for Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and left to right or right to left languages like Arabic and Hebrew. And note, the GPU's text optimization for TrueType fonts is available only in DirectX 12 advanced mode. Use the graphics config command to verify your device. And what I mean by that is when we go into our options and we go under system and we look at our graphics performance, our advanced mode, this is that accelerated font display. This is the GPU acceleration for TrueType fonts. I'm running DirectX 12. If for some reason we have to go back to DirectX 11, this is no longer visible. This is hidden and it's turned off. Some more system enhancements. So they've made some additional changes to the fast shaded mode system variable. They've added 2 new visual styles with fast shaded mode support, hidden and conceptual. So the fast shaded mode improves navigation performance in large 3D models when using a visual style with fast in the name. Some other performance improvements, raster images now load asynchronously in the background during the opening of a drawing file. Big one right here, Bing maps are no longer available, so all geolocation maps are now Esri maps. That is in the initial release of AutoCAD 2026 in the verticals. If you apply the AutoCAD 2026.0.1 update, it does restore Bing maps to the pull down. The big note here is that Microsoft Bing Map service is being discontinued by Microsoft in June of 2028. So if you have drawings that you rely on those background images and they are all set to use Bing Maps, you probably need to start converting those over to using Esri, because in June of 28, Bing Map service will no longer be functioning. This is a Microsoft decision, not an Autodesk decision. So if you do not have the AutoCAD update, if you turn off a Bing map and go back to turn it on, the Bing map option has disappeared and you only see Esri. Once you've applied the 2026.0.1, that does come back. For now, there is no guarantee that 27 or 28 or the next version of AutoCAD will have the ability to go back to Bing if you're using those. All right. So now we're back to live Q&A.
Hey, well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, thank you, Ryan, for your time in putting this together. And for those of you, we'll see you in June. And for everybody else, have a great day and have a great vacation, or sorry, great vacation. Have a great day and have a great weekend.